back, Jason. Don't let them find me. They've come for me, Jason. Don't let them take me.
Hello and welcome to my channel. My name's Jay, and I thought today as a first video I'd do something which I think might be a little bit interesting and a little bit topical actually, in that I recently watched a film that's been released, I think within the last couple of weeks. I watched it about 3-4 days ago, and the film is of course The Monkey. It seems to be the big film at the moment, and I like the film. I think the film overall is quite entertaining, but as I said, I did like an Instagram review of it. I think the film overall is big budget American slop. The film is strange because the person it was made by, Perkins, or Osgood Perkins if you want to use his full name, is quite interesting in that the film he did before this was Longlegs, and those films could not be any more tonally different. While Longlegs was overly self-serious and sort of divulged into just absolute ridiculousness towards the end with its sort of direction the story goes in, this starts off ridiculous and gets somehow progressively more ridiculous. Yeah, I don't get really what it was trying to do, because to me, and I know this isn't a good comparison, but all I could think the entire time was, this kind of feels like American Pie with murders, which is a terrible analogy because it is not like that at all, but I couldn't think of anything else. It was one, well, that just happened, away from being a Marvel film, which would have sucked because those are shit, let's be completely honest. The humour at times was funny. There's a couple of bits that did actually genuinely make me laugh. Some of the murders were quite good fun. I saw a lot of people calling it extremely gory, and they're wrong. Even back to something that was absolutely huge, like Terrifier 3, 10 times more violent, 10 times nastier. Every death in this has about as much weight as a sheet of toilet paper. A terrible analogy again, but yeah, no deaths in this have any weight. People like to explode in this film. 2 people explode within about 10 minutes of each other. I mean, at least they were funny. But the thing that bothered me most about this whole film was just the situation in and of itself made no real sense. And I know it was meant to be a comedy, so you sort of have to take it on those grounds. But I think, yeah, just the situation was ridiculous. All this stuff's going on, and the main character doesn't want to explain to his son, who's with him for the entire time, this is what's happening, this is why this is happening, we've got to deal with it. Instead, nothing's really said, and then the ending, before obviously it comes to its full conclusion, it was just got to a point where I was like, what? Like, this kid is taking all of this on, not asking any real questions, and then just being like, cool. But yeah, it's going for almost like a completely detached level of storytelling, almost like a skit that you'd get in like Family Guy or something, or I don't know, The Simpsons or South Park, where it goes off to quickly make a joke about something and then it jumps back and continues. That's sort of what it felt like. I would say the film's not scary, not in the slightest. There's not really an ounce of horror, unless you're scared of toy monkeys. I guess some people are. But yeah, there is nigh on zero horror. It's firmly a comedy. And I think that if you like American comedies, and you don't really want any subtlety, which I prefer in comedies, yeah, British, obviously, the type of comedy we have is that dark and it's nasty and generally quite sharp with its humorous points. But yeah, this is like the lowest common denominator, really. As I said, it's like one step away from being like Marvel humour. There was a joke about swingers early on. That was funny, and it's the best thing about that is it's said by the director, which I didn't know at the time. But yeah, some of that stuff was funny, and some of the ways that people died were amusing. But overall, the film is to me, like a 6.5 out of 10, maybe a 7 at a push. I didn't think it was great, but then compared to the film I watched prior, which was The Wolfman, it was probably better overall. and at least it wasn't pitch black. At least I could actually see what was going on in this film. That's a good point, actually. The film's really well shot, which isn't a surprise because Longlegs looks great. Regardless of my thoughts on the film, I think that film looks really good, and this one does also. This one is more plain looking. It doesn't have the sort of, you know, snowy backdrop and the sort of more creepy imagery. But also what it doesn't have, which makes it good, is Nicolas Cage, because as much as people like to go on about him in that film, it was ridiculous. Anyway, going off tangent, I did find it amusing that the main character is the arsehole from The Inbetweeners. Just a little side tangent. But yeah, overall, if you know what you're getting into, I think this film can probably be quite enjoyable. It just depends what you expect, really. You know, what kind of things do you like? I can't think of anything else really that's like it, and I have a feeling that it might have taken a little bit of inspiration from something like Final Destination, because some of the deaths are like that. They're just random things happening, and then someone will die in some ridiculous over-the-top way. And that is the thing, is that the deaths are ridiculous and they are over the top. There's not an ounce of seriousness in the whole film. I didn't know that going in. I thought it was going to be like half and half. One thing it does say is that I saw something about the film being recommended for group viewing. I would say that's probably a good idea. I watched it with someone else, and it was sort of funny seeing the other person's reaction. But generally, I would say this one would be fun to watch with a group of people. It's like showing someone something that's fucked up. You know, you chuck it on and then you watch their reaction because you know what's coming. Something like that. But yeah, overall, it's an enjoyable enough experience. Just don't expect to be scared. Don't expect it to be that violent, and expect to leave and go, oh, that was fun, and then get on with your life. Unless you really like these kind of American comedies, then you'll have a better time than I did. But overall, yeah, it's worth checking out. With the recent run of horror films, that was the only one really that we got in our local cinema, and it was alright. There was other ones I would have rather have watched. I would have rather have watched Companion and is it Heart Eyes? I think that's what it's called. But yeah, we didn't get them. Either way, that was it for the video. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm not going to say all the YouTube shit because it does my brain in when I have to listen to it. So please and thank you. But regardless, hope you enjoyed it. And that's the end of the video.